Good morning, or depending when you're watching this, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. My name is Ross, and as always told, I had a voice radio, so today we're going to be cleaning up. To be perfectly honest with you, ladies and gentlemen, you see, Forbidden Light is coming out in May. We've had the whole set revealed in Japan, and I have done an analysis of every card in the set. Now, when I say every card, I mean every fully evolved card and every not fully evolved card that we need to look at. There are some random basics we haven't looked at because we don't need to, but every fully evolved card, every good, not fully evolved card, we have had a look at. But there are two missing, ladies and gentlemen. There are two cards that we have not looked at, and I do not want to leave a space in the set. So today, we look at Gogoat and Klefki, and we finish off the set. And these are cards which I think you need to know about. Now, some people often say, Ross, come on, these cards are rubbish. They're never going to see play. Well, people said that about Barbaracle, and Barbaracle just went and got third place at a big regional. People said that about Reuniclus, and then Reuniclus went and got second at Worlds. I like to know about every single card in the format just in case, and I think you guys should too. So first of all, let's have a look at Klefki. Klefki, ladies and gentlemen, is a basic Pokemon that's got a couple of really useful attacks. Now, it's only got 70 HP, it is a very little Pokemon, but in expanded, and if it ever gets a reprint, we can use Level Ball, which means that actually, there's an advantage there. Retreat cost of 1 is useful, given of course that all the attacks are for 1 energy, and the retreat cost of metal is a little bit of a pain, but you've only got 70 HP, and let's face it, Registeel will not get a one-hit KO because you've got 70 HP rather than 60. Similarly, something like a Buzzwole with a strong energy and a Regirock will be doing 60 and not getting a one-hit KO. So if you're going to have a really low HP, at least have 70 HP rather than 60. Now, for 1 colourless energy here, you get Confusion. Confusion is nice. If you confuse a defending Pokemon, then when they try and attack, they have to flip a coin. If tails, it fails, and they take 3 damage counters. If heads, it works. This is a stalling tactic, ladies and gentlemen. This is something we can try and do to make sure our opponent can't attack for a turn or two, or they have to use resources like Guzma or Floatstone earlier than they would usually want to try and get out of Confusion. The bad news here is it doesn't do any damage. Now, in a weird kind of way, this is an advantage, because if you're not doing damage, Ace Roller cannot get you out of Confusion, so that gives your opponent 1 fewer option. But honestly, you want to be doing a bit of damage here. Something like Espeon uses an attack like this all the time, but it does 30 damage plus Confusion. Not doing the Confusion here is a little bit of a pain, and does hurt the viability of Klefki just a little bit, but it's a basic energy, and 1 basic energy means that you can put it in any deck whatsoever. I say basic, I mean colourless. Something like double colourless energy or rainbow would be special energies that would still totally count here. Also counter energy. Now, the second attack could also be kind of useful. Again, it's for 1 colourless energy, meaning that this could be teched into any deck whatsoever. 20 damage, and during your opponent's next turn, the defending Pokemon cannot retreat. Now, stopping people retreating is huge. When I played Garchomp back in the day, I played a Gabite that stopped your opponent retreating, and it was a single energy attack, and in fact it was exactly the same as this because it also did 20 damage. I won multiple games with Gabite, and the way I did it was quite simple. I would wait until my opponent was out of switching cards. In the new format, that would be no more Guzma, no more Ace Roller. And as soon as my opponent was out of switching cards, I would bring something into the active, or just have something already in the active, and I would just sit there and I would Sand Tomb until my opponent decked out. Or maybe I would just Sand Tomb for 2 or 3 turns while I built up a Pokemon or a couple of Pokemon with which I could sweep and then go ahead and win the game. That's what an attack like this does, but it actually does a little bit more. Because 20 damage, we've seen this with something like Tapu Koko promo against a Ho-Oh. It's actually a relevant amount of damage because you add a choice band and you're doing 50. You double it for weakness and you're doing 100. which means you're 2-hit KOing relevant Pokemon like Dialga, that is only going to get better in the future, and Ultra Necrozma, who, let's face it, is gonna be good. We've talked about this a couple of times in recent videos. I did a video about this with the new Malamar. It is wonderful and great and is going to see a lot of play, but has less than 200 HP and is a Pokemon that is a GX, which means you get to do 100 with a choice band. This could actually be useful if your opponent's only playing one Dawnwings Necrozma, which is something which is going to happen more and more. There's a brilliant trick here, whereby you use a Guzma to bring it in the active, you then use Klefki to stop it retreating, because a lot of these decks will just be playing something like a Floatstone, and they won't be playing any Psychic Energy to attack with Dawnwings Necrozma, and then all of a sudden, you've won the game because you've trapped it in the active. I'm not saying that playing Klefki is going to win you 47 games in every tournament, but I am saying that it will win you the odd game here and there, and that could just be enough to give it a little bit of consideration. So I'm giving Klefki 3 Wassies. It's not an amazing card, but it's a basic Pokemon that attacks for colorless energy that just might actually be able to be useful here. So I think you need a copy or 2 in your binder, so I'm giving it 3 Wassies. Now, Klefki could have had its own video, but ladies and gentlemen, I could not leave poor old Gogoat as the only Pokemon from this set that doesn't get its own video. That would be sad. I would not be happy with myself. So let's take a very quick look at Gogoat and see if there was a reason that I was ignoring it. 120 HP is actually really annoying because it's gonna get one-hit KO'd by Zoroark and Golisopod. I've said it in a bunch of videos, 130 HP makes a huge difference, and this is really annoying that it has 120. Retreat cost of 2 is the worst in the game, and a weakness to fire is a little bit annoying with something like Volcanion running around. This is not particularly nice. Now, in terms of the attacks, 1 colorless energy, flip 2 coins, for each heads, heal 40 damage from this Pokemon. Well, if you had a really tanky Pokemon, this would be a great attack. So let's say, for argument's sake, if this attack was on a Wailord and for 1 water energy, it would be phenomenal because Wailord is a Pokemon that sits there and tries to heal, and having an attack which allowed it to heal more easily would be superb. On 120 HP Gogoat, ugh. It's not even a great blocker because so many things will get easy one-hit KOs on it, and that's a little bit sad. For 1 grass and 2 colorless energy, 120, and it deals 130 to itself. Now, the first thing to note about this is it uses double colorless energy, making it much quicker to get going than a lot of things. The second thing to note about this is that doing 120 is the magic number. Something like a Lycanroc GX, easy KO here. Actually, we get a KO if it did 110, but it does 120. Pretty much any GX that is weak to grass is going to come along and be one-hit KO'd by this, and that's nice. Greninja GX will get one-hit KO'd by this. This is great. And it does do 30 damage to itself, which is kind of annoying, to be honest, because then you're going down to 90 HP. You don't have a lot of HP to begin with, and I know that technically you can heal off using the first attack, but no, because if you're using the first attack, you're pretty much giving up. It's just not going to work very often. So you're bursting your own HP, and that really does suck. You are hitting a good amount of damage, and that really is good. But I just think we've got better non-GX grass options at the moment. Shaman from Shining Legends, I think, is really nice. Now, it is a revenge attacker, so you have to get a revenge attack. But other than that, you're doing 120 for 2 energy on a basic. Or something like Tapu Bulu GX, I think would be a better attacker here. Yeah, it's a GX, but it's got 180 HP and no weakness. And even though it can't use double colorless energy, it still uses stuff like Vikavolt to work a bit more easily. I'm not saying Gogoat is a bad card. but I do think it's a card we don't really need, and I'm giving it a paltry 2 Wassies. In a pre-release, I could see this being a really good card because you're doing a whole bunch of damage and you can heal from a bunch of Pokemon which, let's face it, are going to be doing smaller attacks. Good in a pre-release and alright out of context, but with the amount of good cards we've got, I just don't really think it's going to actually work. And I'm sorry about that, ladies and gentlemen, but hey-ho, at least Klefki is a decent tech. But as with all of these, I want to know what you think about these cards, so let me know in the comment section. Go nuts, but be nice. Do you think people are going to tech in Klefki, or do you think it's not quite good enough? Do you think Gogoat is better than I'm giving it credit for? Should Gogoat have gone into pointless Pokemon from Forbidden Light? Go nuts, but be nice. Make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at the Wassie, and Twitch for some live action at twitch.tv/PTCGRadio. Do make sure you follow my other channel, Wassie Plays. Go subscribe there. I'm going to be starting Dragon Ball Super TCG content very soon indeed. Box opening in the next day or two. Then a bunch of analysis videos like we do for Pokemon. But there's also going to be videos there on games like Sea of Thieves and PUBG and all sorts like that. It's fun. Go check it out. And if you're inclined to support the channel and get some bonus podcasts, head on over to patreon.com/PTCGRadio. That's where that happens. But by far the most important thing, as always, is to look after yourselves. Until next time, thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching PTCG Radio.